You know what I love about the world of video games? You never quite know what to expect because in a time that the Nintendo Switch continues to sell millions of consoles and games, and Nintendo, in order to celebrate Mario's 35th anniversary, they're doing a limited release digitally and physically of 64, Sunshine, Galaxy, and even Super Mario 3D World from the Nintendo Wii U, which I love and beat that game in that console. It's getting a new release on the Nintendo Switch in 2021 with online play, so you're thinking, hey, we gotta go all in on the Nintendo Switch. There is no reason to talk about the Nintendo Wii U in 2020, and then a company like VBlank says, hey, that console's pretty cool, so how about I put a new physical release for the Nintendo Wii U in 2020. So hey everybody, Juan here, welcome back in this video we'll be talking about perhaps the last possible physical release for the Nintendo Wii U. Never say never, right? Because somebody else could be looking at this and going like, oh, we got to go after that patented Wii U market, but I love all of that. But if you like these conversations, make sure to like, subscribe, go down to the comment section, and hypothetically say you were the person that can make all of these questionable decisions about taking a modern game, because this one came out in 2019, and if you could demake it or backport it, if you will, to an older console, which one would you do that for? Please let me know in the comments. The first thing I gotta say is thanks to all of you that are subscribed here and follow me even on Twitter, because the moment this got announced, I feel like everybody's like, oh, we gotta tweet Juan. So I got a bunch of tweets, DMs, comments here, and that's how I actually found out about this. This company made another game called Retro City Rampage, which I actually played back on the PlayStation 3. So I love the fact that these two consoles that I love are in many ways involved in this conversation. This game is available on almost everything. Maybe the Atari VCS is gonna get a copy or something, but you can buy this game on the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo 3DS, the PS4, the PS3, and the Vita. The reason this game got a release on the Wii U is because they wanted to get it out on the Nintendo Wii, and the PAL region actually got a physical release for the Wii, which is just ridiculous that that was even possible, but they couldn't do that with North America. But they were able to find a loophole by porting it to the Wii U. They could do that so people in North American regions could get access to this game. Just when they did that, they like stealth drop released this game for the PlayStation 3, like, hey, we ported it to the Wii U, so let's also get the PS3 out of the way. It is actually cross-buy, so you can buy this game on the PS4, the PS3, or the Vita, and if you buy it in one of them, you get it for all of them. And you can also buy it on PC, right? I should say that. When they announced the Wii U release, which I'm pretty sure it's all sold out, you can buy these directly from their website, VBlank.com. So I think it's cool that some of these companies take these random risks to just celebrate older consoles, right? In a time that the PS5 and the Series X are maybe around the corner. We don't really still have a lot of information about that. I want to briefly talk about my experiences with this game, because even though you cannot buy it physically on the PS3 and the Wii U now, unfortunately, you can still buy it digitally on both the PS3 and the Wii U. If there was a quick way I could briefly describe this game in just a few words, it would be 80s sleaze, because you can feel the influences, because it's celebrating a lot of things from the past, but I think that the way that they go about it is simply brilliant. So you play as this middle-aged CEO that he's just failing, he's a terrible businessman that's not exactly understanding this shift to online culture, so he's somebody that loved to buy VHS tapes back in the day. So now he's like, wait a minute, now everything's streaming. You can't just buy an application, you have to subscribe to that. Initially, he complains about that, but then afterwards he goes, hey, we can make some money on that. And this whole game is basically him being like a golden retriever with a short attention span. He goes to one place, somebody makes a comment, his first reaction is, can I steal that idea without getting sued? And the actual gameplay loop, it's kind of like a throwback to older GTA games, but what I love about this game is that even though it kind of looks like an open world game, and hypothetically it is, where you can move around, the way it actually works is it is fairly linear. It doesn't stop. This game almost doesn't let you breathe, and I'm saying this in a good way, because there's nothing worse than a game with a lot of action, but then it's got like a whole lot of cutscenes that just brings things down. Visually, not only is the gameplay side of things visually attractive, even when they get to the actual cutscenes, they are simply stunning to look at, because every single character has just a ton of personality. You can tell which ones they want you to love, which ones they want you to hate, and the dialogue and the way that it is written, I was actually laughing out loud multiple times. And something that I love about this game, and I think all of you, especially if you hate like long cutscenes, you're gonna really appreciate, I don't think any of the cutscenes take longer than 2 minutes. It's kind of like go in, go out, you get the objective, you quickly complete the mission, and then you're right back to doing the next one. Something else that's really nice about this game, and it kind of reminded me somewhat of Grand Theft Auto 5, is that you don't just play as the main character, you also get to play as a kid. And I'm saying kid, the man's like 30 years old, but he has a job, he's a DJ, but doesn't really get any gigs. And something else that I really enjoyed, you think that because he's a CEO, he just has a lot of other people do the work for him. And yeah, he does hire mercenaries, he gets a lot of those things, but sometimes he's like, hey, I gotta infiltrate a place, so I'm just gonna grab some guns and do it myself. But he's like in a business suit, so as evil as he is, so you're technically playing as the bad character, as the heel of the story, right? The way that they go about it, you're kind of like laughing at him, not with him, so you don't even mind doing all of these things. And it is in many ways commendable that this 50-plus-year-old dude that is wearing a suit, he's about to go bankrupt, he's actually getting his hands dirty, and that's pretty neat. Going back to this physical copy, when they first announced it, they gave us 2 options to buy. So this is the default edition, it was around $25. There was another one for $30, which in hindsight, it was a $5 difference. Juan, stop being a cheapskate. The other one just had like a slipcover, I believe, and also a digital soundtrack. And I was like, I don't care about soundtracks too much, but people, holy crap, this soundtrack. I mean, I'm just gonna shut up and hit play here. A couple of other positive things about the game is that even though there are a lot of business aspects to it, like you're a CEO, you're trying to buy out a lot of houses just to create like this artificial process that there's not a lot of housing, it's really just hitting a couple of buttons. According to howlongtobeat.com, this game takes about 6 to 10 hours to complete. This is not including most of the side missions, so let's round it up at about 10 hours for this whole experience, which is not bad because I'd rather have a shorter, beefier, meatier game than have something that's just padding itself out. And considering the fact that I'm loving the story, I'm getting to the point that I don't think there's going to be any twists, but the things that happen in it are so fun that I'm purposely choosing to omit some things, even visually, just so that if you do play this game, you play this and you have yourself a great time. So those were my impressions about Shakedown Hawaii, but the main reason that I wanted to work on this video was not about the game itself. I'd say the game is sort of the vessel for the main conversation because, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, when I first saw this announced, I saw some people on Twitter saying like, why, it's dumb, it's stupid. Look, people, we get it that video games are a business, they got to make money, and I have no doubt that, there was like a 3,000 limited copies of each one, so we're not saying it's like a million sales or something, right? But I love the fact that as the internal child in me is like, hey, I bought the Wii U after it was relevant, right? If it ever was. I bought the Wii U after the Nintendo Switch came out. But the fact that in 2020, I was able to get a brand new Wii U game, much like other people, and I can put it in the console, I can experience it for the first time. And I think it's just a really fun thing, and I challenge other companies to do things like this. We obsess so much about the next thing. We get a lot of games that don't necessarily need the power of a PlayStation 5. The power of the Xbox Series X. We're getting new games for the Sega Genesis, so this is not like the only example. I'd actually like to bring up the forum here and ask all of you, which other ones have come out, right? Like new games for old consoles. So I'm just thankful that a company like VBlank took that healthy risk of thinking outside the box, combining our loves, right? Of getting new games, but you can actually dust off your Wii U because maybe you had this game on the PS4, so there's no real reason to get it on the Wii U. But hey, if you hadn't had this game for another console, why not get it for that? As a matter of fact, just before I hit record on this video, I was reminded of the beauty of the Wii U because I was watching some All Elite Wrestling, recording this just before the All Out pay-per-view, and I was like, oh, I want to keep playing this game. Oh, right. there's the gamepad. Now sure, the Nintendo Switch version also does that, but I got the one on Wii U and I love it. So hopefully you all enjoyed this casual conversation about the last possible physical release for the Nintendo Wii U. We didn't even get to talking about the one on Wii because I don't have that version, right? It was PAL only. But they actually went even further back, right? It's to like the pre-high definition era. So if anybody's played that one, I would love to see some gameplay. I think they even have like a 4:3 option. So it's like optimal for CRT television. So that is pretty damn cool. So if you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe, click on that bell, go down to the comment section, and as I mentioned, throw out the hypotheticals. Which a more recent game would you love to be released in a previous console? And up until next time, thank you for watching and supporting, and take care, everybody.